I think of the role that this played in a woman in my district who was a teacher's aide, who was here, legal status, to be clear, legal status. She had her legal residency, and the president said, no longer, we do not want you here anymore, and so they started to revoke that, even though she was here legally. And because of that, she was not able to get medicine, and she died. She's dead. This was a woman who was in our...
teacher?
She was a teacher's aide.
Was she not able to get private health insurance from the school?
She was deported. And in the process, she was trying to be able to get medication, and she was not able to get it.
Senator, I don't think we can expect these gentlemen to be commenting on things they do not have all the facts.
Well, we're talking
about
about...
and just bring up 50% of the story. That's not...
I mean, that's...
Gentlemen, you don't have to sit here and explain that. They're here to testify on the bill.
I know it's uncomfortable that people are dying because of the results of their actions, and I get that there's an image in your head of who you think is getting health care and who isn't. But people are dying. Somebody in my city is dead because of what's happening at the national level.
They're not going to sit here and have to defend something that you give them 20% of the information on. That's not right.
If they're writing legislation, we are writing laws. This isn't softball we're playing here, Chairman.
It specifically deals with this. Somebody is breaking the law by being here. You're getting
by the declaration of the president, by the declaration of the president, where he is changing the goalpost of who is here and who isn't here legally.
That's the problem, Senator. You're trying to talk about something these gentlemen aren't even trying to figure out.
Then they shouldn't wade into it if they can't answer the question, Mr. Chairman. If they can't answer the question, we shouldn't pass it into law.
That's outside of the scope of the bill.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I literally asked the question that you were going to block a free clinic if somebody wanted to come along. In the case of that woman who was a refugee, or she was here as a legal resident, had that removed, couldn't get access to health care because of it, and if somebody wanted to come in, if the community wanted to come in and say, hey, this is a valuable member of our community, and in the case of this, she was an employee of Milwaukee Public Schools. So by that entity, if she is a subdivision of the state, you are saying that they could not, you're saying that they couldn't supply health care for her. That would be illegal.
Yeah. Gentlemen, it's outside of the scope of the bill. Senator, do you have any other specific questions?
If you'd like to answer it, if you don't, if you feel like you can answer it, I'd love to hear it. If you want to be protected by the chairman,
I would just say this. Anybody who is here that is not a citizen, illegally, they're here as a temporary resident, they're here on a visa or whatever, they can always have their ability or their the opportunity to be here revoked. And it could be by the president or by Homeland Security. There's all different reasons why that ability for them, that privilege for them to be here could be terminated. So under the president's order, I think he gave them a certain time period that they either had to, that this was going to be up, and at that point they would go through the deporting process. And I would think up to that point in time, they're still considered to be here legally at that point because they're not locking them up and taking them away like that. Now, if they stay over and they're here over their visa, something like that, they're not here legally at that point anyway. So why should a taxpayer pay for that individual for anything? And I can't imagine that somebody would not be able to get some type of medical assistance if they are in that critical of a condition that they would actually expire from it. But I do not know all those circumstances. That's a separate... We're not dealing with that. Like the chairman says, this is not the focus of this piece of legislation. But it does point out that, people that are here legally still have the ability to be covered. Legally.
Senator Carpenter.
Well, I think by saying this bill is narrowly scoped isn't necessarily true. We're dealing a lot of constitutional crisis issues. The president is dealing with executive orders. Congress is not involved in this. And we were told by the president that only the violent criminals were going to be deported. Violent criminals.
Yeah, so the worst of the worst is what they're starting with.
Yeah.
Correct.
But that's not all that's happening. There are a lot of people like this lady who was applying to come to this country. She was applying to be in it, but under the guise, violent and criminal people, that's a small percentage compared to innocent people on technicalities that are being sent out to El Salvador, maybe some Middle East country. And so when you're bringing this up and saying, hey, look, you can't have any medical care for people that are being detained, that's wrong. It's unchristian, it's immoral,
You can't-
and don't interrupt me. And
Senator, you cannot negatively talk about somebody's personality like that.
I
That-
did
that
not
is a
say
direct-
anything about him.
You said it
I
is
pointed to him.
unchristian, it is inappropriate. If you want to talk about the merits of the bill, that's fine, but you're getting very personal in that comment, and I'm not going
How
to
did
allow
it
it.
get personal?
I'm
Play
not
back the
going to
tape.
allow it. I just
Play back the
explained
tape.
it.
Play
If you
back
have
the
any
tape.
further questions, go ahead.
Yes. Well, don't interrupt me and don't put words
I
in
will
my mouth.
interrupt if you're going to be impairing the integrity of a member who is
How did I
sitting
impair the
here.
integrity of a
I just
member?
explained it to you.
You did not.
Do you have any further questions?
You did not answer
Do
that.
you have any further questions, Senator?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and ask.
Thanks a lot for mistreating me and not allowing me to speak.
You know what? If you're going to speak out of line, I'm not going to allow it.
Well, you might not
Stick
be
to-
chair.
stick
What I
to
was
the
saying
question.
very simply is that in this situation, you have to provide proof. The senator from the 7th came out and said this school teacher who was embraced and loved by the community had 2 daughters. And President Trump decided to, and I know many people, that they're trying to follow what's legal. They're going through the process, but Mr. Elon Musk went ahead and with his big, beautiful government bill with his chainsaw cutting things, the president gutted a lot of things, including immigration. And so people are waiting to get this information. This bill is about denying services for people that are being deported or under some guise that haven't had due process and they're being kicked out of the country. If you want to go back to the 1950s, if you want to go back to the 1950s and look what the Mexican, I won't name the bill, where over 1 million people were deported from the United States. Thousands of them were U.S. citizens just because they looked Latino.
Senator
And what do
Carpenter,
the courts come out with now? What?
You have to. This bill is about illegals. This is
I'm
about
getting tired of you.
illegals.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is
If you're too
illegal.
cowardly to
You're
let me
talking about
speak
the
and speak the
1950s.
truth about this
If you have a
situation,
specific
don't have a
question
public hearing.
about their specific bill, you can ask it, but I'm not going to sit here and allow things outside of the bill. That's my job. And I'm going to do
That's
my
BS.
job.
That is BS.
This is
I
about-
have a right to discuss the
These are
bill,
illegal.
talk about immigration.
It's outside of the
I'm
scope of the
sorry
bill.
you don't know about enough of
It's
immigration to
outside of
make a
the scope of the
decision.
bill.
So
If you
anyhow,
have any further specific questions,
Yes.
that's what we're
I
here
haven't asked a
for.
question yet.
well, you spoke out of turn, Mr. Why don't you gavel?
You've got the floor to ask a specific question, Senator.
How can you say this legislation that is going to try and be passed, the governor's going to veto it, and you can't answer a question about how a person is going to be deported or cut off from medical care?
I would say this
You
bill,
did- I-
bill has been passed.
Excuse me, I'm not finished.
This
I'm
bill
not
has been
finished,
passed
Mr.
by not
Chair.
only
I'm
red
not
states.
finished speaking.
It's-
I'm not finished speaking. You don't have a right to interrupt me.
All right.
Boy, it's amazing how you Republicans
Well, it's just-
are so afraid
Ask a question,
of
please.
the
I'd like to ask you a
information.
question.
I like to keep it focused on what we're supposed to be talking about.
He keeps on interrupting me.
Okay, Senator, you asked Hawkins, and he tried to answer, you wouldn't let him. Go ahead. Finish your question.
Yes. I'm simply saying this is dealing with medical services. What this is nothing but a bunch of garbage because you admitted that under federal law, and the feds did not change that there's a requirement to provide medical services for any human being here in the United
Emergency
States.
medical services, correct.
Well, thank you
That
for
hasn't
repeating
changed.
what I was saying and interrupting me
Emergency
again.
medical
And
services.
so the question is, boy, I can't wait to get to the floor that you guys can't defend this. So the question is, they have to have medical services. There are people that are being kicked out of this country that aren't violent criminals. And I was bringing up, let me go back to the school teacher, that if you only know 20% of that, you shouldn't be in the state legislature because it was widely spread that this woman had 2 kids, working in the school system, being a protected, providing education for her schools. And because she was deported, in that system, whether you want to call it Alligator Alley or whatever it might be where they're sending these poor souls, and she died because she did not have the necessary prescriptions. Now, I don't care if you don't care about individuals like that, but I'm a Christian. Some people, I guess, think they're Christians. But this legislation, you have to be able to understand the whole story about immigration, where we're at, and why this is wrong. And if you can't do that, you don't belong in this office, or this is just a bunch of baloney to give the Republicans a vote on something that isn't going to make any difference because we have a president who's drunk with power, in executive orders, makes mistakes, won't say he's sorry, and you're defending that system. Now you can answer the questions.
There was
that I gave
absolutely
you.
no question there.
Yes, there
So
was.
thank
Put
you
that
for your
on the table.
comments. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
that's okay, that's okay.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to go back and
Okay,
go
so-
through Wisconsin
so,
Eye,
Senator-
and I'm going to look to
Senator-
see what information was what I said, and then I'll show you all the questions.
First of all, I do not speak for President Trump, and...
I didn't say you did.
And, well, you made the ask that, it's him doing it, that it's all his fault, et cetera. First of all, if somebody's being deported and they're in that process and they are taken into custody, they are now the responsibility of the government to make sure that their well-being is taken care of. If this
They
did
aren't.
not, okay, if this did not occur, then there would be a cause of action that way for them not being taken care of.
A
Because if
person
they-
is dead.
Now, let
A
me
person is
talk
dead.
now. You
How
talk.
many more people
You
do we
talk.
not know about
Now
that are being
let me
detained
answer.
and are
Tim,
being treated
let
this
me
way
answer.
under President Trump?
Tim, are you going to allow me to answer?
You're making up these assertions.
No, I'm not.
We didn't
Yes.
say anything.
I was interrupted.
Guys.
I was interrupted.
Gentlemen, we're done.
Thanks.
Thank you for your testimony.
Appreciate it.
We're not going to continue this.
You guys are cowards that you can't even defend your own
Senator,
bill.
you're acting out of line. That's
you
out of
are acting
line.
out of line.
No,
I've
I'm
never
not.
had
I'm
a
trying to
chairman
keep
tell
some kind of
me
order in
that I'm
here,
bringing some
and you're
information up,
insulting
and
the
you try and
speakers by
deny me
calling
to
them
say that
cowards.
information.
That's personal.
You deny.
It's
You're
not
not
gonna
the
happen.
president of the Senate. You
It's not
lost
gonna
that
happen.
race.
Mr. Chair.
You lost that race.
Mr. Chair. So if the senator wanted to, he could create his own nonprofit that's not government funded, and he could spend all the money he wants.
Thank you, Senator.
That is a
We're
pretty
done.
stupid comment.
No, because that's what the bill